You are listening to Small Business Straight Talk with your host, Amber De La Garza. Amber is a sought-after coach, trainer, speaker, and writer who gives small business owners the straight talk on productivity, time management, business systems, leading your teams, strategic decision-making, and mindset. No BS, fluff, or overused jargon. Just actionable strategies to get results and succeed in business. And here is your host, Amber De La Garza, the productivity specialist.
Welcome, and thank you for listening to Small Business Straight Talk. Today is episode 314, 10 ways to starve your distractions and feed your focus. If you're a small business owner who wants to learn effective business strategies, improve time management, and elevate productivity to maximize profits, reduce stress, and make time for what matters most, then you're in the right place, and I'm so glad you've joined me. Today, we're going to be diving into the topic of starving your distractions so you can successfully feed your focus and show up your best. I would like to invite you to go take my quick 3-minute quiz to take your business to the next level. What's more productive than taking a short quiz to help you find out what's most holding you back and get a personalized playlist of podcast episodes that will help you solve those exact pain points? Seriously, go take the quiz, hit pause so that you can take your leadership and business to the next level. Head on over to amberdelagarza.com/quiz. And now, let's get to the straight talk. I think we can all agree that we want more focused work time. We want to show up our best, work on our most important tasks and projects, work effectively, and feel productive. While we may want more of that, or just more consistency of that, this episode is not about trying to stay focused all day, but instead having blocks of time in which you purposely starve your distractions and feed your focus so you can show up your best. In order to set yourself up for success by getting in and staying in your focus zone during scheduled focus work times, do the following to starve your distractions and feed your focus. Number 1, keep a task list. Get all of those tasks out of your head and onto your task list immediately. You'll have less things swimming around in your head, sabotaging your ability to focus, and less fires to put out because you forgot to call a client back or pay a bill, or many other examples. When we don't have a way in which we trust that we've captured it, we know where to find it, we know where to go back to it at, such as a task list, those thoughts can come in and stay for a while. They can totally cause that internal distraction that makes you squirrel off to make that call, to pay that bill, because in the moment, your thought is, if not now, when? So keeping a task list will help quiet that chatter in your head. Number 2, plan your day ahead of time. Start each day with a plan of attack for exactly what tasks and projects you tend to work on for that day. You won't waste time thinking about what's next or what else do you need to work on, and you can seamlessly move between tasks and projects throughout your day. By planning your day, you're coming to the day proactively versus reactively. By planning your day, when the thought creeps in your mind that you need to do something, if you've already determined that that thing is going to be done at 3 o'clock, but it's 10 in the morning, you can be rest assured that you have time set aside to work on that task or project. Planning your day consistently will give you those results because you start having more and more confidence in the fact that what you're working on in that moment that you said you would work on is exactly what needs your time, energy, and attention for that moment. And when you're confident that what you're working on during that focus block of time is exactly where you need to be, You'll be less likely to self-distract and go work on other tasks and projects. Number 3, do power hours. Power hours are a powerful, pun intended, way in which you can clear your mind. Power hours let you dedicate a specific time, and this could be an hour. For some of us, it needs to be a little bit more than an hour, but power hour rhymes. So think about it as a block of 60 minutes or 90 minutes where you are going to just get all of those small, pesky tasks done. The ones that take up the chatter in your brain, that can distract you off from a big project. The tasks that are not exactly deadline driven, but if ignored or falling through the cracks, become fires later on. I recommend doing a power hour at the end of the week to wrap up the week, clear the task list of all those little random tasks so that you can see what's really important to focus on for the following week. Number 4, consider the time of day. You want to make sure that you're aligning the activities that require your utmost focus with the time of day that you're most energized and actually able to focus. Look, all time is not created equal. I do not show up the same way in the mornings as in the afternoons. Oftentimes, I don't have the mental capacity to do my most focused work in the afternoon. That's for me. You may find that you will never require yourself to do your most focused work first thing in the morning because maybe you haven't gotten into your rhythm. You are not a morning person. I say that loosely, but you don't have the same energy in the morning as you do in the afternoon or evenings. We are all different. And it's really important to get in tune with what time of the day is best for what kind of tasks. So I'll give you an example. Recording an episode, like a solo episode here on the podcast, or writing an episode content can never show up in the late afternoon on my schedule. Now, if I do that, I am not setting myself up for success. I will find every reason, every way that I need to go do something else than to sit down and do that deep work of writing content. And so my willpower is lessened because I'm depleted or tired. So to ensure that I can show up my best and focus my best, I planned for that time to be in the mornings. And that's important for just crafting your schedule because if I were to do client meetings and team meetings and all the other things that I can do in the afternoon and I booked them only in the morning, that would mean that I'm squeezing out my prime time to write content or record podcast episodes for something that I can do in the afternoon. So for me, if I am being interviewed or interviewing somebody else or I'm working with a client, I am on. Energy is not an issue. I get energy from people. But to do solo, independent, deep work at the end of the day does not work for me. Now, I only shared my experience so that you can reflect on your own experience. What is your natural rhythms in the day? What are the times and days that are suited for different types of tasks or projects? Experiment. Maybe you're listening to me and you're like, I've never really considered it. I just power through. I've never really observed a pattern to where I feel like I'm sabotaging my time versus being able to show up consistently for that block of time. Then maybe your action item from this one is just start observing how you naturally show up now throughout the day and start crafting a schedule that complements it. Number 5, determine your focused sweet spot. All right. For this one, I want you to figure out your productivity sweet spot. How long can you achieve maximum focus and allows you to consistently work, right? So are you someone that can work for long periods of time, like 90 minutes or 2 hours on the same task or project? Or are you someone that finds that your productivity sweet spot before you get antsy and start scrolling your social media is 20 minutes? Meet yourself where you're at. If you naturally find yourself not being able to focus past 30 minutes, by forcing yourself to go to an hour or 90 minutes is self-defeating. I would rather you identify that your sweet spot is 30 minutes than take a purposeful break, acknowledge you're giving yourself a brain break or you're getting up and moving your body, and then come back and do another 30 minutes. Do it again, and then come back and do another 30 minutes. You still got your 90 minutes in if that's what that task or project required. But honoring your productivity sweet spot is the way to go. For me, my productivity sweet spot is 60 minutes to 2 hours, generally 90 minutes. And for me, that's the opposite. If I stop and give myself a break just as I'm getting into my groove, I find it more difficult to drop into that focus zone and continue doing the work. So I like to jump in, go deep, stay in it, uninterrupted and focused, and then come back out of it for longer durations of time. Again, find your sweet spot and honor that. Number 6, choose one thing. For your specific block of time, I want you to already have made the decision of exactly what your intentions are and specifically what you're working on. I want you to be able to understand that you already know what you're supposed to do and you're not doing the decision making during that focused block of time. It also will allow you to limit temptations such as multitasking, having windows up, your email still chiming, ringing, dinging, coming across your screen. By being very specific to say, I need 30 minutes to do this one thing will make you most productive because it will take 30 minutes. Now, if that one task or project takes 30 minutes, but you let yourself get distracted or you multitask, which creates, we have a whole episode on that. It creates errors. It definitely slows you down. Then now it's going to have taken you 45 minutes. And I would argue you probably didn't show up your best in the thing you were multitasking on, nor the task or project you intended on doing. So when you schedule these focus blocks of time, have one specific intention. Now, number 6 brings me to number 7, and number 7 is turn off all those chimes, rings, and dings. Now, this is generally a good solution for your workday period, but specifically for these focused blocks of time. If you do not know how to, go Google how to turn off your email notifications, desktop notifications, and that could be like auto, like you can hear it, or you can see it coming across your screen. For these specific focus blocks of time, think about turning your phone on Do Not Disturb or airplane mode or just silencing your rings and text messages. Also turning off notifications for social media. When we are trying to practice our most focused time, we do not need to tempt ourselves with these unneeded distractions. We do not want to set up an environment where we consistently have to glance at it and check out of what we're doing. We really want to drop into that really focused zone, and that is impossible when we have so many unpredictable distractions. Now, if you heard me say this, I said email notifications, desktop notifications, phone notifications, social media notifications. Notifications are meant to distract you. Like that is what they are supposed to do, and they do a good job. So quiet them, turn them off so that you can focus. Number 8, keep a closed door policy. Boundaries to your physical space will significantly decrease interruptions from employees, colleagues, vendors, and family if you have a home office. Or if you have a regular office, the physical space of team members not walking in and just chit-chatting or asking questions, you have to have times where you have a closed door policy. Now, this is not going to be all day and every day. We definitely want to be part of the team. We definitely want to make ourselves available, but you owe it to yourself and your team to give the signal of not right now. I am unavailable because I'm working on something incredibly important. So that would be the closed door. If you do not have a door on your desk or in your office for yourself, you could create a red sign that you can post at your cubicle or on your desk or on the backside of your monitor that just signifies to the rest of the team that this is private working time. And that would just be implementing that as a common policy, and it would probably serve other people on your team incredibly well too. The intent is to not have to pause and say, I'm not available. It's so that you're not distracted by saying, I'll get back to you, but that they can see a clue of closed door, red sign, and they can come back at a better time. And let's be honest, if you don't have that physical cue of a closed door or the red sign or some other clue, if you are a people pleaser, if you tend to be a people pleaser, if you're someone that tends to not like confrontation or disappoint anybody, you're setting yourself up for more of those interactions that you have to say, I can't help you right now. I'm unavailable right now. Can you come back later? And if that's not your strength, then perhaps you're not going to do that. And if you don't do that, you've just disrupted your focused work time. All right, that brings us to number 9. Stay well rested, fed, and hydrated. Yes. We do our best. We have the best ability to focus and show up our best when we're well rested, properly nourished, and hydrated. If you're finding it difficult to focus, check in with yourself. What time of day is it? Is it before you ate, after you ate? Do you need a snack? Do you want more water? How was your sleep last night? If you get a good night of sleep, it'd be interesting to observe your ability to focus versus a night that you didn't get good sleep. And if you're consistently not getting good sleep, then all these other tips that I'm sharing with you, maybe focusing on getting good sleep trumps all of that, because you can see with the pattern that the nights you don't get good sleep or consistent nights you don't get good sleep, you find it incredibly difficult to focus. And next, lastly, number 10 is create the right environment. I got to ask you got to ask yourself, is your environment distracting you? Your physical environment, does it have clutter? Is there clutter on the floor, piles of papers on your desk, representing unfinished projects? Maybe you work from home and the laundry or dishes in the sink are distracting you. Even the lighting in your office can affect your ability to focus. Is it too cold? Is it too hot? How about the chair you're sitting in? Is it making your back hurt, or are you comfortable to where you can just stay in your focus zone? Our environments have a huge impact on our ability to focus. Now, as we close out, I want to share with you that was a solid list that can really benefit your ability to focus. But the truth is, you might be doing all of these things and still feeling like you can't focus for adequate periods of time, if at all. If that's the case, perhaps there's an underlying physical or mental reason. I am not a doctor, but perhaps it's worth exploring and getting to the root cause. I see this with my clients, and I have experienced this personally. To name a few reasons that can be causing you to have challenges with focusing are some medications and supplements, the side effect is it affects your ability to focus. Perhaps you have diagnosed or undiagnosed ADHD, depression, anxiety, adrenal fatigue. Physical body pain can stop us from being able to focus because all we can focus on is the pain. How about having chronic lack of sleep? We talked earlier about getting a good night's sleep, but there are medical reasons why you may not be getting enough sleep. And lastly on this list, but this is not an exhaustive list, is hormone imbalances. I personally have experienced this, and this was part of my own health journey, which I shared a bit with you on in the episode Hold the Line. But when I started having extreme hormone imbalances, it actually physically changed my ability to be able to focus for long periods of time. And I don't know that any of this is talked enough about. I really would feel remiss if I said that all of our challenges with focusing can be solved with a strategy. Oftentimes, there could be an underlying reason, and not just to take care of yourself, not just to ensure that you are your healthiest, but to make sure that you're not sabotaging your ability to show up your best in your business. You may want to look at exploring what some of these underlying things are and get help. Seeking support if there's a physiological reason you are having a difficult time focusing can be actually incredibly empowering. I know that when it was happening for me, I wasn't really clear that it was happening at first. And then when it started happening, I started getting critical of myself of like, what's wrong? Why can't I focus like I used to? And I wish in that moment I have the perspective that I have now, that it wasn't actually a physical, medical reason why, and I didn't need to be so hard on myself. I really just needed to meet myself where I was at and prioritize healing myself so that I could show up my best. Let's wrap up the methods I shared to you to really maximize your focus, efficiency, productivity, and starve your distractions. Number 1 was keep a task list. Number 2, plan your day ahead of time. Number 3, do power hours. Number 4, consider the time of day. Number 5, determine your focused sweet spot. Number 6, choose one thing. Number 7, turn off those chimes, rings, and dings. Number 8, keep a closed door policy. Number 9, stay well rested, fed, and hydrated. And number 10, create the right environment. To learn the best practices for using these methods to starve your distractions, we have a number of past episodes that dive deeper into each of them. I'll share them here with you now, but please know I don't expect that you're taking notes. What I would say is be sure to check out the show notes. You can do that by heading on over to amberdelagarza.com/314. And here are some of the episodes that I have previously done on this podcast that go deep into some of these challenges and how to solve for them. Episode 238, From Task List to Action List. Episode 108, 5 Tricks to Make Your Task List Your. Episode 171, ClickUp for Small Businesses, your all-in-one project and task management system. Episode 167, Conquer Your Day Using the 5 Daily Planning Papers. Episode 119, How a Rapid Fire Power Hour Can Get You Back on Track. Episode 185, Creating Energy, an exploration of ways to show up your best. Episode 55, Exploiting your productivity sweet spot to get the most out of every day. Episode 56, Unveiling the Myth of Multitasking with Dave Crenshaw. Dave Crenshaw is the author of Multitasking is a Myth. Great little book, but that was also a really good interview. Episode 25, The Art of Multitasking, Friend or Foe. Episode 177, 3 Steps to Making Your Business Boundaries Successful. And episode 23, The Practice of Guilt-Free Self-Care. And then lastly, if you do have ADHD, episode 263, ADHD and Business Ownership, an entrepreneurial case study with Diane Wingert, dives into the connection between ADHD, focus, and productivity for business owners. Again, you can find this list of episodes that are specifically going to support you with creating more focus in your days, your weeks, so that you can show up your best over at amberdelagarza.com/314. Thank you so much for tuning into the Small Business Straight Talk podcast. I sure hope you found today's episode to be insightful and bring clarity as to some simple methods that you can implement to feed your focus. No change, no change. Without taking action, nothing will change for you or your business. Be sure to get a list of those episodes that I shared with you that specifically go deeper into some of the methods I shared with you today. If you heard one that you're like, yes, I do need help with task management, or I want to implement a power hour, make sure you go listen to those episodes, and you can get that list by heading on over to amberdelagarza.com/314. And while you're there, I invite you to take 3 minutes so that you can take the Next Level Business Owner quiz. And 3 minutes will uncover what is most holding you back from taking your business to the next level. And then I will send you a curated playlist of podcast episodes that specifically address those challenges. You can take the quiz by heading on over to amberdelagarza.com/quiz. And if this is your first time tuning into the podcast, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Glad you found us. Be sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss another episode. And if you found today's episode to be valuable, be sure to not keep it a secret. Share it with another business owner who you think will find it valuable. So that's my straight talk for today. Until next time, have a productive week.